Hi, hello, it's Reti here. Welcome back to my channel. Today I want to give you a little update of our fruit trees. Last autumn, right before the rainy season started, we planted around 30 to 40 different young trees, mostly fruit trees. And we were very lucky because we managed to plant them right before the rain started, so they had time to get really well rooted before the frosts came. But then in December and mostly January, really heavy frost hit us, and the winter was colder than we actually would have expected. We had temperatures down to -5, and apparently some of our young fruit trees didn't make it through the winter. So today I'm going to go through the garden and through the fruit forest and see which of our trees have survived and which ones have not. So if you want to see how our trees are doing, keep watching. This is what today's video will be about. So it's end of March and we finally feel safe enough to unwrap the trees. They've been covered for the frost for the last 3 or 4 months, and we've been waiting so long, and now it seems that the frost is really gone, so we can unwrap them. And I'm really curious how many of them have survived, because I know that some of them looked pretty sad already. So it's a very exciting moment. Ta-da. Oh, looks something green inside at least. Oh, not so bad. Oh, shit. That's on a flower. Okay, that's not too bad. This is an orange tree. It was planted pretty close to the house. It has lost some leaves, but there are some leaves still green. And it seems that there is some new growth down here. And the tree seems to be alive. So that's good news. Let's see at the other ones. Okay, this is a baby pomegranate. I have no idea how it's doing. I haven't checked it since months. I've got scissors out. Oops. Okay, that doesn't look very good. Oh, but there is some green, there is some new growth down here. So it's not all the way dead. At least one branch is alive. Yeah, this is a tricky one. I have no idea if it will come back or not. It doesn't look good, but it's not all the way dead. So we'll have to just wait and see what happens with it. Okay, this is a lime tree. It was doing really well in the autumn before we wrapped it. It had a lot of new growth, and I think that was actually not so good that it started to grow in the autumn, because it took all the energy out of the plant. And now it doesn't look good at all. Oh, Naru. Yeah, that looks a pretty sad story here, right? Doesn't look good. And the funny thing is that limes. This is a red lime, and according to what I have read in internet, those are the most frost tolerant from all the citrus trees. And the oranges are more sensitive, but it's really about the microclimates, I guess, the problem here, or the issue that we have to learn to know our microclimates, because this lime here is exposed to the cold winds that come from the field, and the orange is more closer to the house and kind of protected by the house, I guess, even though it's like not 20, it's maybe 10 meters difference, but it made a difference that one tree survived and the other one not. So I guess the lesson learned here is to know your microclimates. This doesn't look good. Poor lime. Looked so good in the autumn. I was so proud of this tree. Thought it's doing really well, and now it looks completely dead. I think we will leave it for a little bit to see if something comes out. If it's just the leaves, but it doesn't look good. Let's see. And this is a lemon tree. It's planted between the cork trees, and because of this, it seems it has survived the winter fairly well. It has lost a couple of leaves, but in general it seems to be very much alive. In contrary to the lime tree, which is supposed to be much more frost tolerant, which is only 20 meters away from this tree and has probably died. So this here is a young plum tree that we planted last autumn, and around it I have planted a tree kilt. Tree kilt is a permaculture concept of beneficial plants planted near to each other who are supporting each other. So in the center of this kilt is this young plum tree that we planted last autumn, and it's doing fabulously. It's doing really, really well. It's like one of the best trees, one of the trees that is doing the best, and one of those whom I really took care to plant a really nice kilt around it. So what I have planted around are fava beans, and fava beans are nitrogen fixing plants, meaning that they are releasing nitrogen to the soil and feeding the tree at the same time. And around fava beans I have planted a row of garlic. Garlic is a pesticide, so it keeps many of the pests away. And around, even more outside, I have some strawberries, and strawberries are just a good ground cover. So this is a really good example of a quick permaculture kilt. Usually the kilts are made up from perennial plants, but this was a quick one made from annual plants, and apparently it really worked well because this tree is doing super well. So this here is an apricot tree. It's doing really well as well, and also I have planted fava beans around it and garlic again, and it seems that those permaculture tree kilts are really supporting the trees, because this one is also one of the ones that is doing really well. It had a lot of flowers. It was super beautiful in the spring. Now it's already finished flowering. Pomegranate tree that we have planted on the central spot in our garden didn't show any sign of life for a long time, and I got already very worried that we might have lost it. But suddenly it started to put out new leaves, and it's doing really well. I'm very happy about it. And around the pomegranate tree I have planted a little herb garden. And this is a fechoa, or pineapple guava. I have two of those, and both of them are doing really well. They didn't even lose their leaves over the winter. They didn't seem to mind frost at all. And they are just growing really nicely. So this here is one of the trees that sadly didn't make it through the winter. It was a strawberry guava, And around the strawberry guava I have planted some strawberries because I thought that strawberry guava must like strawberries, but sadly it didn't help. So when we bought this tree in the nursery, they told me that it's not a frost sensitive tree, so I actually didn't cover it for winter, which was probably the mistake, because this tree was completely destroyed by frost. It doesn't seem to have any life in it, and I think it's one of the only ones. I had 2 of those strawberry guavas and I lost both of them, sadly. Strawberry tree looking really happy, and it has even some small little young strawberry trees coming out from the bottom. I wonder if I can separate them in one point, or if they want to grow together. The monkey puzzle seemed to do well as well. Didn't really mind the frost at all. This is a nettle tree. Now finally I understand why it's called like this, because the leaves really look like nettle leaves. When we got it, it didn't have any leaves, so I had no idea how it's going to look like. And now I see that the leaves really look like nettle leaves. Our bamboo doesn't seem to have grown a lot in height, but it's definitely alive and it's definitely doing pretty well. And it has even put out some new shoots, which is probably a good sign. We thought we had lost our kinko tree, but lost in the sense that we couldn't find it. We were looking everywhere and we couldn't remember where we planted it. But finally now, when everything starts to put out new leaves, we could re-identify it, and it's definitely a kinko tree. So we found it again, and it's growing really well, it seems. And this here is a bonus tree for me. It's a beautiful young fig, but I didn't plant it. I found it. So it was already here, it was growing, but it was so covered in the brambles and all kind of other organic material that we didn't even know that we have it. And it might have not survived if we didn't clean it out. So I cleaned it out last autumn and gave it a lot of love. And now it's growing really well and doing amazingly well. It's a beautiful young fig tree. So congratulations, if you have watched this video to the end, you must be a complete gardening nerd like me. Thank you for watching my videos and see you in the next one.